When you picture a word game in your head, what comes up first? Is it Scrabble? If you follow the puzzle game community, probably Lingo is the first thing that would come up in your head. I love Lingo, and I made these two Lingo blocks just because I'm addicted to that stupid ass word game. But you could also think of Boggle, just to give an exercise for the reader. I'm gonna give you a Boggle puzzle while I continue my monologue. Let me shuffle the cubes. There we go. You do that in the comments while I explain that none of, except Lingo, none of those word games are really the best. Like, yes, Lingo is my favorite video word game, but there is a word game that I really like, and that is not only a digital game. That is a pile of books. Oh, platform, you must be kidding. Books are not games. These aren't books. This is the game called Paperback by Tim Fowers. And this might be my favorite board game, word game ever. I love Paperback. And I will show you why. Jump cut, this is how the game looks like inside. There's a massive foam thing, and the cards are separated in these very nice larger cards. And you also get a little wooden cube, stash of little wooden cubes, which always is a double even. And I will explain what a deck building game is, because that is important to know. I have explained it quite poorly in the video, but the deck building game is games where you start with your own personal deck and you draw cards from that personal deck instead of having a deck in the center. And throughout the game, you improve that deck by adding special cards that allow you to get better in the game, which usually synergize with each other. It's literally explained in their name. You build your own deck of cards. And what's usually good about deck building games, such as Dominion, I would show Dominion as an example, but it's holding up the camera. My setup is janky, but Dominion is my lifesaver. I love Dominion, but not as much as I love Paperback. And if you play the deck building game, then I will still explain the basic rules, but I think it would be familiar. So at the start of a deck building game, at least as sort of a paperback game, you will have a deck of 10 cards. And that deck is gonna be made out of. Hold on, there's a missing card here. There we go. It's made out of 10 cards, 5 consisting of the most common consonants of the English language, and 5 wild cards. And to start playing, you shuffle your own deck. You draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from this deck, and you must make a word on the cards you drew, just like in Scrabble. But the difference is that every card has been real busted, and there is way more wild cards. Wild cards are usually super powerful in Scrabble. Here, wild cards are not at all, because they give you 0 points, while letter cards at the start usually give you 1 point. And for this, I will make the word relay. Because white card can be any letter, this is R-E-L-A-Y. And this gives me 2 points. We count all the numbers here. Don't count these. This is an important mistake people make. Don't count these. These are how much the cards cost, which doesn't matter right now, but sometimes it does. We count up all the numbers, which is 2 on this word. That's really cool. I will talk about what you use these points for, because the player who has the most fame points, which is quite different than normal points, is the winner of the game. Meanwhile, I have Snout here. S-N-O-U-T, which gives me 3 points. And I discard my stuff, and when my draw pile runs out, I reshuffle my deck, just like in any normal card games, and make it into a new draw pile. And I draw 5 cards from it, and I repeat this. But, since this is a deck building game, my draw pile may get filled up with newer special cards, like an S, or an AN, or a calculator, or an ending that makes anything better, or action cards that do special things, or cards that mess up other people. It's really cool. And everything that you add to your deck, it will get reshuffled back, and you can use these special cards if you can fit them into a word. And this is really cool. So, let me explain how the shop system works. I will only explain them with these purple cards, because this is what I have in my hand. So you have to roll with it. But there's a bunch of technically shops you can buy from, each have cards that cost different kinds. So the purple is the second cheapest, and every card in it costs 3 points. Every word you make makes you cents, and you spend those cents to add newer cards. And you add those newer cards to your deck, which allows you to buy better cards, which allows you to buy better cards, and that's the feedback loop. And let me go over what you can, how the shop system works. So I have this, and in the shop I always put out the top card into the bottom, and you do that with each type of shop. So for the red, it goes down. Actually, the red doesn't go down, but for the yellow, I do that, and there's gonna be like a big row full of all the different kinds of shops. The red one is an exception. I'll talk about that a bit later. And I will explain what goodnesses you can do with these special, very good cards. I had to cut out a massive chunk of filming for that, but it's basically filled with either double letter cards, which can be counted as 2 letters, such as the TI or the AN I showed earlier. And there are cards which, when you play them, they do a special thing, or they have a condition that you also have to meet before doing that special thing, like allowing to draw you an extra card or give you extra money. And I'm gonna stop right there. +1 card next hand, that is really good, because, you know, if you can hold more cards in your hand, you can make bigger words, which give you more money. And there are 2 special cards. And well, there's 2 special cards in almost each deck. The attack cards. The attack cards mess with the game's rules. If you have played Balatro, then I think the best way to explain it is like, it's weaponized boss blinds, where you put a specific restriction on all the other players that they cannot use until it's your next turn. So I think this is more simple. If I play a word that has the N, all the other players can only buy one card, up to one card with their money, which is kind of bad for the other players, but it's not the end of the world. And then I'm gonna go over the yellow deck as well. But you would ask Platform, how do I win this game? And you would also ask Platform, why is this game themed around books? Well, it's a word game, of course. It has to be themed around literature or something, I don't know. But there are the fame cards here, which is a special kind of card, a type of card that is always in the offer. And there's a limited supply of them depending on how many players are in the game. And these are how you actually win the game. So these are basically just wild cards that you can use, but they are themed around novels that you technically write. And these cost various amounts of money to buy and give various amounts of victory points, aka fame points. So the fame coin points are listed here, and whoever has the most fame points at the end of the game wins the entire game. And you can use these as any letter wild cards. And they increase in price, so this costs 8 cents but gives you 7 victory points. Or this costs 11 and gives you 10 victory points, that's big. And here's the biggest one, it costs 17 cents and gives you 15 victory points. It's kind of brutal. Also, the wilds you start with, they all cost 1 victory point each. So you always start with 5 victory points at the start of the game because your deck has 5 wild cards. But there's another way to gain victory points and cards in your deck that aren't with sense, which are these common cards. This also represents the other end of the game. So this is the common pile, and it always has 4 vowels in it. And at the start of the game, this is shuffled. And to make the word building aspect of the game easier, you can always use the top letter in the card. So if I had like this in the common setup, you can make... if I have these, I can use tire. So this is T-I-R-E. And using the common card also gives you 1 cent. So 1, 2, 3. I have 3 cents to spend, which is really good. But because this, I think you have noticed this ominous 7 letters here. That is a requirement on how you can claim the card and how you can get access to the other vowel cards. So if at any point during the game someone gets a word that is 7 letters or more, they get the top common card, like added to their deck. And this also gives them 5 victory points, which is really good. And then this gets shifted a little bit down, and there's another common card which everybody can use. And after that there's another common card with 9 letters, and then there's another common card with 10 letters, and then the game ends if someone makes a 10-letter word when it's the last victory cards. By the way, the game can also end when 2 of the fame card piles are run out as well. So you can technically play this game infinitely, but at some point someone's gonna go rushing for the points and win the game. So you wanna rush for the points as well. which I think is an interesting balance. The only bad thing about it is that it can drag the game a bit longer than I would like. Sorry. By the way, there's a special thing here. The most expensive letter cards, the sign cards. These are the only cards that vary in price. So some cost 8, some cost 9, and some cost 10. And these are the most overpowered cards in the entire game. So, like, +1 card next hand. But it gives you 5 points, that's brutal. +3 cards next hand. Or there's my favorite, H, +1 cent per lettering word. Even if you make like a 5-letter word, this gives you like 8 points, which is brutally big. And yeah, that's Paperback. You build your deck, you make words, you buy new letters, you build your deck more, and you make new letters, you buy better cards, and you buy some fame cards so people won't gonna outbuy them, and that's the gameplay loop. This section used to include all the spoilers for all the fun mechanics I found while playing, but I decided to cut them out because that's the fun part of deck building games, and discovering all the fun interactions silly cards could make. And fun fact, you can actually play this game for free. Like, it's free on Steam. Technically on mobile, although you do have to go download it from a shady site. But it's definitely free on Steam, although only the first versions, and you cannot play it online. The reason I got a physical copy of the game is because I really like it, and you cannot tell me what to do. So yeah, that's Paperback. Really good game, really good stuff, 10 out of 10. Yeah, the only criticism I have is that sometimes it can take way too long. But it has some really fun strategies, and I highly recommend literally anyone get the Steam version because it's free, god damn it, and it's a good game. So yeah, that's Paperback by Tim Fowers, the best tabletop game I have ever played. I also have Dominion, which I really like. You can definitely see where Tim Fowers got the inspiration from. Like, this is very Dominion-esque deck building. But I just had so much fun with Paperback. So yeah, I like Paperback, and you should try it out. Of course, I'm planning to get the expansion for Paperback unabridged, and I also was thinking of somehow playing the other deck building word games that Tim Fowers has made. There's Paperback Adventures, which is more Slay the Spire-esque. I didn't like that much. There is Hardback, technically follow-up to Paperback, which is another similar but different take on the deck building word game. And there is Typewriter, which is a more portable version of the deck building word game genre. I love how Tim Fowers just struck gold and kept making games of it. But this is definitely the best one. Alright, I'm gonna stop yapping. I cannot speak English in a word game, that's embarrassing.